Hey folks, thank you for joining us again for another exciting episode of YOML. Today we are back and talking about the second half of that book by Malcolm Gladwell, David and Goliath, on the art of battling giants. So last time we talked about the not so
Desirable,
disadvantage, which
right?
isn't so desirable for us. So we see if today is any different than what yesterday.
Fair
Last
enough.
last was Thursday. So
Well, okay, so I got to give Malcolm Gladwell a little credit. Actually, I just finished The Tipping Point today. So, I love Malcolm Gladwell's books. I don't want the impression to be that I can't stand the guy because I told you, that guy's an artist. I think it was Made to Stick. It was a book that we'll talk about in the future, but a book that I read a couple months ago. He talked about, starting, like making it like a treasure hunt, like a quest, and like Malcolm Gladwell is so good. I think this is I've read so many Malcolm Gladwell books and I've read so many of these types of books before at this point in time that I think I've cracked the code of what they do and why Malcolm Gladwell is so great. Number one, it starts off with a question. He just asked just a broad general question. Like in Tipping Point, the question was, how does word of mouth viral, viruses spread, basically? Like how does a word of mouth idea spread? What are the components and elements of that? Then he takes you on this awesome treasure hunt, basically, where we stop for one spot, we learn some interesting information about the story, then he weaves this great narrative all together as we're learning along the way. We're waiting for the next clue, you're waiting for the next clue, you're waiting for the next clue.
Human nature, right?
It's so
nature.
good.
We talk about human nature as far as one of the top things that we do is explorations and discovery. That's what moves us. If you can leverage the psychology of human nature, you're gonna have our attentions like from beginning to end. And that's why storytelling is so compelling, because it makes you want to say, well, I got this piece of puzzle. Well, what's the next piece? And what's the next piece, right? And so and then the thing is, even if you have like all the pieces, there's one piece missing, right?
You gotta know.
What
you
is
can't
the
stop.
whole thing? So you
Right.
gotta know. So that is something that drives us, and everybody has that gene, and I think that's a genius to kind of piggyback on that I guess human evolution.
It is. I mean,
to engage us, right?
It's brilliant. They talked about this one professor who used to come in and just pose a problem and do his lecture. And when he turned it into a question at the beginning of the class, his students became like, I can't remember what the statistics were that they measured, but it was massive improvement of the engagement in the class. I think they were measuring it by of like, how fast did people run out of the class or whatever, or something like that. It was like these people were like glued to their seats, like, every single class about wanting to know what's the answer. Like if you just keep people on the edge of their seat and continue to give them a clue. A lot of ways, the year of magical learning is kind of structured like that on accident, but I mean, not really. We've been doing this ourselves. We've been going on our own quest. Every day we fill in another little piece of the puzzle. We don't know where the fuck we're going and we don't know how we're going to get there. But at the same time, that's the fun of it, right? Every day when you show up, you probably like the fact that you don't know what I'm going to say.
Exactly.
Right. And you're like, well, what's Chris going to come up with today? What can we talk about? That's the fun of it, right? Like, and as we do this, we slowly build our story that we're shaping around Clubany, and it's fun and we're enjoying it. And I'm enjoying it because I get to guide you at the same time. You get to then help me to refine my own knowledge. And then we can come up with joint knowledge at that point in time to go apply to our own projects. So it's like that's kind of how the year of magical learning is structured too. So I say all that to say, I still really like Malcolm Gladwell's writing. I still really like his storytelling. I love it, actually. He's a brilliant storyteller. So, I didn't want this David and Goliath book to be the reflection, because most of these reflections are usually positive momentum, clues toward, the next step. That one was kind of I'll call it a junior rant. It wasn't like a rant,
But
it was
the
like
thing is,
a
I
junior
think
rant.
it's important to learn about that as well, because
Right.
like I'm saying, it is very important for us to not seek pain so that it can be better or stronger just because I have pain. And that's, to me, is a lesson worth learning. Don't go chasing the thing that people say, hey, desirable disadvantage. I mean, even if he says it, doesn't mean that it's applicable. And you can tell me if I'm wrong, but having pain doesn't necessarily is worth the price you're paying, right? Let's say if somebody say, well, if I give you $1 billion, but you're gonna have to be sick for the rest of your life, when you say, hey, I'm in pain, so I've got this $1 billion, right? The question I'm asking is it worth it to trade in this pain, whatever that is, for something seemingly supposed to be great, like $1 billion or Elon be a trillionaire or whatever? But my point is it worth it?
No,
That's what I mean. That's the question.
If it's the back end, if you flip it, I think most people would probably say yes, only because they don't know. Like, like they like we talked about with football players.
Even I mean, the thing is, my point is choosing, because if you know, right, which is on the front end, if you know, then yeah, you are choosing it, and deciding to choose that, it's completely stupid in my view.
It's not even a debate. What do you choose that?
Certain things that people can't choose. But the point is, you have this lesson of desirable disadvantage, or no pain, no gain. Like you go and you're seeking pain. That is what lesson. This is what people are trying to persuade you to do.
Right.
Right. Go seek pain so you can have gains. This is what it's saying. I mean, am I wrong?
No,
it's not that just happen you have pain, then you can maybe turn that into something gain. No pain, no gain. That's what I say. Hey, break down that muscle.
Do you remember Bear Grylls' book that we did, a long time ago, Blood, Sweat, and Tears? You remember that book? The reason why Bear Grylls climbed Mount Everest was because he was kind of a thrill junkie. He was a parachute enthusiast, and he did it for the military stuff. He would go parachuting. One time his parachute didn't open, and it opened really late or something like that, and he came crashing back down to the earth, and he shattered tons of bones in his body, and he was like, I think he broke his back or something like that, as well as like a lot of other different areas of his body. And he was in a hospital for like 6 months rehabbing. Basically every single day, all he could think about was like, I'm going to get out of here and resume my physical strength, and I'm going to go climb Mount Everest. That was his singular focus. So like, to your point, you're saying go jump out of an airplane without a parachute, and then you can maybe go.
But that's the question I'm asking, is when people are telling you the story, right? What are you supposed to take out of it?
You're not. You're supposed to say, well, this isn't what this reflection's about anyway. So my point of why I was bringing that up in the first place is I didn't want for me personally on this journey, I didn't want this book to only have a negative one, so I wanted to kind of put a positive spin on it as well. So
I think it's a positive. I think it's a positive, even though we're talking about something that we don't want.
Well, I know, I understand what you're saying. I'm not saying it wasn't a good lesson. I'm just saying that it was that for me. I like to keep this like as a positive forward moving thing, not just to sit from the side and critique about somebody else's art, right? Like, I mean, because that's his art, and I'm not going to tell him his art is good or bad. He did what he did. For me, it just treats me the wrong way.
This is what I'm doing. Is I'm practicing what I'm preaching. If I say I don't like something, it has nothing to do with anything. It's my preference.
But I did like that,
and that's what you do. If you're a beaver, you say, hey, I like to build dams and then go fly like majestic eagle, or to be on a pride rock like the lion. Right? The thing is, there's nothing wrong with judging. You are going to judge anything because that's what you do. You say, well, I am a beaver. What do I like? What do I judge? I go pick up sticks, and people around me say, hey, you're a dirty rodent. You just pick up dirty sticks in your mouth and whatever. It's yucky, right? That's what I like. I don't care. People judge me. I'm gonna judge people. You can't say, well, you're not being true to yourself. So judge. If you like something, right? Be true to yourself. Hey, I like that. Right? You don't like something. Hey, I don't like that. Stay away from it. Let's say I don't want to go jump like a rabbit, right? Then I don't. If I want to go build dams, then I will. If you want to be this troublemaker, to be this raccoon, then be the raccoon. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And people can, let's say a parent will come, or a peacock will come, hey, you're a raccoon, you're a troublemaker, no one wants
like, damn right.
But the thing is, they judge you. But the thing is, if you say, well, I'm a raccoon, that's what I do. It is what it is. It is who I am. I'm going to be who I am.
No, I mean,
I agree. So if you are trying to force, if you're trying to force yourself to accept anyone, negative or positive, you are constraining yourself.
I agree. Malcolm Gladwell is a storyteller who doesn't have a lot of soul in the game of the stories that he tells most of the time. And this is one of those negative ramifications that can come from it, but I don't care. Like, I still really liked the book.
I don't think it matters at all whether it's good or bad. It's just, hey, from my perspective, like I say, nothing in the universe is universal, and nothing is completely like final. Because I see a strength, you see weakness. It's, to me, it's based on who's looking.
All right, put a pin on that. We can come back to that if you want to. So, but in terms of why I wrote another one. That was why. I really like Malcolm Gladwell's art, and I had another thought that this thing, this spurred in my mind. So this particular one was, the reflection title was "Nothing is as simple as it ever seems," right? And that's the beauty of Malcolm Gladwell's writing, right? Like, he always takes something that on its surface, like, that's his thing. He takes something that everybody sees and they all see it, and then they take it for face value of whatever it is, right? They're like, oh, I see, the story of David and Goliath, right? The small guy won that day, one time out of 100 or whatever. And he will ask a lot of questions and take you on this journey, like we talked about at the beginning of all this stuff, to poke a little bit deeper, to ask more of the questions, to be more curious about it, to say, okay, like, I do see how this works, but like, let's dig deeper, let's go deeper, let's dig deeper, let's dig deeper, let's dig deeper. And it reminded me, as I was reading this book, because I hadn't read this was the first Malcolm Gladwell book that I had read in a long time. I had up until this point in time, this is the third Malcolm Gladwell book that I had ever read, and Outliers is the first one that I read, and that was probably 10 years ago. The second one that I read was What the Dog Saw, and that was in the NICU with Amelia. So this was like, it had been like almost 3 years, 2.5 years since I had read a Malcolm Gladwell book. And it just reminded me of why I really, really, really like this guy and his writing, because he stops and he asks the question. He sees, a dog being walked by a human being, and he asks the question, like, if I was an alien landing on this earth right now, and I saw this animal with a leash holding it and a collar walking this other mammal, I'd go, what the fuck is that about? How did this happen? What led to this? We just take this as normal. We just go, oh, hey, it is what it is. Dogs and humans, they go together. But Malcolm Gladwell sees these things and he goes, I want to know more. I want to look at all the different angles of this. I'm going to go ask more questions, and I'm going to go be curious about life and be curious about what I see and dig deeper, right? This reminds me of Daniel Kahneman and what you see is all there is. And this is an affliction that a lot of us have. We were just talking about this with Luca and the daycare thing right before we hopped on, right? Like, what you see is all there is. You send your kid to daycare, he gets sick. And we all go, well, the majority of people go, well, like, it is what it is. Builds their immunity. You got to wait a year. He'll be sick for the whole entire time. It's going to be rough, blah, 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 blah. And you and I both stop and go, no, that doesn't seem fucking right. How did we get to this point in time? Why did daycares exist? Why is our work life structured the way that it's structured? How did all these things happen? How did this ever become a thing? Is it an industrial, society thing? Are we still in an industrial society? I mean, there's a million different avenues and questions that you could go down to look at that particular problem. And most people just say it is what it is, or what you see is all there is, right? Well, I got to go to work. I send my kid to a daycare because that's where they tell me to go, and he gets sick. What you see is all there is. Like what more to it is there than that, And you and I both are not that anymore, right? This whole journey and the atomic bomb, I guess, if you will, that woke me up out of my own slumber. Most of the things in my life, I kind of just took at face value. I'm like, yeah, it is what it is. Like, this is how tech companies work. This is how the corporate world works. This is how daycare works. This is how, most of the things in my life, I just said, it is what it is, and keep moving on, right? Reading a Malcolm Gladwell book. This isn't necessarily about David and Goliath, but here's the thing about reading a Malcolm Gladwell book. It just reminded me, nothing is ever as simple as it seems. There's always other angles to take a look at a problem. There's so many different paradigms to view the world. There's so many different ways to view a situation that happened. What were all the dynamics that went into go making something up, and then to try to figure it out and try to find the source code behind all that stuff to be able to then go, I don't know, do whatever you want to do with it, but it's a fun journey and it's a fun quest, right? Now, the second part of all this for me is he asked this question in the book. He said, are you desperate enough to change? That he asked in this particular thing, because it was about desirable disadvantages, right? And it was about the story of underdogs. It's about when you get pushed to that brink, and are you desperate enough? Like, does it hurt that bad that you have to act, right, before you're willing to change? We were just talking about before, fuck that. Like, that's not how this has to work. You do not have to have an atomic bomb. You do not have to have a desirable disadvantage for you to be able to look at life and be curious and do all the great things that humans can do. I say we should flip it around and we should say, are you healthy enough to stay curious? Because that's really what it matters. And what it means is, when you have a healthy brain, and you have a healthy human spirit, like, you should never stop questioning the world around you. You should never look at something and take it as face value. You should never just see a dog being walked by a human and go, well, that's what happens. You should always be healthy enough to ask that question, to see the different paradigms of life, to go find your own quest and to find your own answers. And that's what makes life fun. That's what makes life enjoyable. And that's what makes you healthy. You do not have to go through an atomic bomb to go do that. You've changed my opinion on this, right? Because I've had this debate, and we can have it now if you want to again. But I think you've officially changed my opinion on this. Like, I was under the impression for the longest time on this journey, like the pain is so severe that it's, are you desperate enough to change? Because the pain was so, I was desperate. Like I didn't know what else to do. I had to change, right? Like if I was going to keep living my life without my daughter and that searing pain every single day, I had to change to find a way to be a healthy human being again, right? Like that was not an option for me. And I know what that feeling is, and I know it's still there, and I know that I feel that still every single day today. So I know how that drives me forward. But to your point, you always constantly argue back. You don't have to do that. Like, you know, like you can take the lessons from other people, and they're very simple lessons of focus on your values and stay curious and ask questions and, you know, all those things, right? And you could still go get the same results that we're trying to help other people to do without having to go through all this shit. You know what I mean? To be desperate enough to change, right? So I like that. The question that I posed, that was the question for everybody else, is, are you healthy enough to stay curious? Because that's the mark of a true healthy human being, is if they're willing to look at the world around them and ask fucking questions.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the questions. I mean, which is along the line of my foundations of my, I guess, philosophy. I don't want to call it philosophy, but you know, it's because the thing is, you think about it, if you have a choice to be the underdog or the favorites, which one would you choose?
I think we all would say that we'd want to be the, well, not, I probably wouldn't actually, because you get to learn so much when you're the underdog. You know,
Nothing is ever as simple as it seems, because you think that you can benefit from being underdog. But let me ask you statistically, how many underdog stories got buried because they lost? If you're underdog, there's a reason why you're underdog. Statistically, you don't make it.
Are you going to pull out this the Taleb quote of, you know, what gets filtered up there?
I mean, it's one of the famous lessons that I've learned from him is the survivorship bias, which is like,
that's a good point.
Because the thing is, people tend to elevate this 1% because all the story, because it's not interesting if you say, well, 99% of the favorite always wins. The 1% that always loses and wins one time. And then you create a story out of it because it's new, it's unique. And we take that at face value. And this is where the point you're making is, you know, nothing as ever as simple as it seems. And what you see isn't all there is. Because what you see is what somebody's narrative tells you, hey, that you should be underdog. Underdog are to be, you know, to be rooted for. The point is that when you're underdog, your chances of winning are like very, very minimum. That means that 99% of the time, when let's say you the favorite, 99% of the time the favorite will beat you to the smithereens, and that's is the reality. You don't live in this fairy tale story of only showcase the upset. You showcase the upset, but the point is, probability, statistically, you're not going to win. Just like buying a lottery, right? You're not going to win. You're going to probably get hit lightning like 9 times before you win a lottery. This is statistically, this is what you're saying. So, as a practical, logical person, if you say, well, I have a choice of being a favorite or an underdog, right? Basically, when you're underdog, you're basically saying, what was the quote you're saying? Are you desperate enough? You are basically pushed to a corner. You have no other choice. And if I push you to the corner, what is the chance that you're going to beat me? Not very good, because I'm going to beat you. Because how did I force you to the corner in the first place?
I was dominant at whatever I do.
I was powering until I think if you think about it, 99% of the time, the guy who's pushing the corner is much stronger than you, much better, has better advantage than you. That's why he was able to push you in the corner in the first place. And your chance of survival at that point is very low. And for you maybe one time, you know, surprise the enforcer, right? To surprise him is 1%. And so you do not want to be desperate, because you, I mean, just like, you know, hey Chris, let's play a game. Let's pinch your nose. I'm just gonna suffocate you until the last minute and see if you recover. Would you want me to do that to you? Because hey, you're underdog.
Right.
Do not put yourself in the corner. Always have options. When you're desperate enough to change, it's like you have no other option.
Right.
When you're in the corner, there's only one path forward. You are desperate.
I'd rather be the favorite that loses. That's what I'd rather be. You know why? Because you're going to learn. You already knew that you had some serious skills, and you've already learned a lot to get to be the favorite. Like now, you get to still learn.
Say sometimes you don't have a choice. But if I had a choice and you give me the option, I would never choose to be an underdog. I only get celebrated. Let's say in 1,000 parallel universe, one of those universe that you win, the 999 other universe.
Well, so you see my shirt, Purdue, right?
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
So do you remember what happened in the NCAA tournament this year with Fairleigh Dickinson being Purdue was the #1 seed, and there's only been one 16 seed that has ever beaten a 1 seed ever in the history of the NCAA tournament. It happened like 5 years ago when Virginia lost to UMBC, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, or something like that. Purdue became the second. My school, my team, my alma mater became the second number 1 seed to ever lose in the first round to a number 16 seed. They were up until then. It was like they were like 155 to 1. Like the odds of literally like beating that happening were almost unreal, right?
But that's what you celebrate.
But that's what we celebrate. But like you couldn't have had a more David and Goliath situation. Literally, Fairleigh Dickinson, or Fairleigh, I don't even know how you say it. Fairleigh Dickinson, Fairleigh, I think. They had the smallest team in college basketball, like in terms of height-wise, average height across the board. Purdue has the tallest team in college basketball across the board. They had the national player of the year in Zach Edey, who literally was the national player of the year. They were a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament that, like literally you couldn't get more David and Goliath in this whole entire thing. Do I think that Purdue is going to, go on to have more success than Fairleigh Dickinson in the long term? Of course I do.
99% of the time, yes.
99%
you think about it.
99 times out of 100, they'll win.
Do you think that Purdue is going to lose again?
No way in hell.
It's like one fluke. Out of how many times has this happened over the past?
Once.
Exactly. That's my point. Is that we are taught to celebrate this underdog story. And like I said, don't live in the world of possibility. Like it's possible for me to be the lottery winner. Live in the world of probable. What's the probability for me to live into tomorrow?
Well, I actually think there's a secondary conversation. Like, I don't want to always win, though, too. So I'd rather be the favorite.
No, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have nothing to do with winning or losing.
I guarantee you. But hang on. I guarantee you that Matt Painter, the coach of Purdue, is going to look at everything that just happened, how he constructed the team.
I guarantee you,
they cannot happen.
I guarantee you, if you take that David team, I will bet you. I would bet whatever money you want to bet. I would bet you that team won't do it again.
Oh no, I agree. I mean, they've already broken up. Their coach took another job, because obviously he was the big story of the tournament, and the coach took a better job. The team, like 4 of the team transferred out because the coach left. It's an impossibility. That team will never be heard of again.
Even if you have the team intact, I guarantee you will not win again. Right? It's 99%. I'm not saying never.
But my point
I'm saying is they cannot do it again. Because that's what I'm saying is you only celebrate the things that it's a fluke and once in a lifetime kind of event, a turn of events that upset something. But that's the point.
You're missing the point of what I was trying to get at, is Purdue may go on and win a national title next year because of this situation. Because the coach will go, I learned so much from what they did to expose, even though that one chance out of 100 happened. But that was because there was flaws. Like they do not handle the press well. Cracked under pressure when they were a pretty good shooting team and they just totally couldn't hit a shot. They had no contingency plans. They had no backups. They had no plan A, plan B, whatever.
Purdue can recover.
Yeah.
The other team cannot.
Exactly.
Because Purdue is like, okay, I got this thing 99% covered. There's one little hole that I forgot to protect. Yeah. And it happens to shoot the arrow through that hole, like the Achilles heel, right? If I know Achilles, I'm just gonna protect my heel with some kind of a protective boots or whatever. Then I'm completely covered. Purdue has that ability to say, well, I can take this and I can become a more well-rounded champion. The other guys say, well, this is one chance. It's like once and done, right?
Yeah, right.
It's like, okay, can I shoot again? I probably not. Can you hit the Achilles heel again? Probably not. Not
Right.
very likely. That's my
Right.
point is the reality. That's the reality we're telling you versus what people are praising in books and in movies. And the thing is, to me, more and more movies today is making kids delusional.
Story is really inspirational though. Mighty
It's
Ducks,
delusional.
I love the Mighty
It's
Ducks, I love
delusional. And the thing is,
I love Rudy, I love Hoosiers, I love,
and we talked about Rudy before. I say, hey, what's the point? I mean, you didn't even to play all the hard work. You get to play one TD play.
The love of the game, man. It was for the love of the game. He played the right way,
I love the game. I watch it. That's my point. Is like, everybody's trying to be this hero or whatever. It's like, what is your probability of being this person? And like I say, one of the most important lessons that I've learned that I did not discover until later is don't try for those impossible dreams, because chances are it's like, hey, I dream of becoming a lottery winner. What is the chance of me becoming a lottery winner?
You can't control that. I mean, that's the
You can't. So the dream's the same thing. Is do you have the capacity? Is there a chance for you to become this basketball? Let's say for me, I want to be I want to be like Michael Jordan. And you look at me, tell me the truth. No way.
Well, all you got to do is drink Gatorade and buy some Air Jordans. Like, I mean, that's what literally the commercial was. I want to be like Mike. Like, I mean, what do you mean? Like, they told you the blueprint in the commercial.
Yeah,
be like
that's
Mike.
the key. Yeah, that's why they even have the fucking pumps. Like, it gives you Air Jordan. It's like, that's what I'm saying. Is kids become delusional and they become entitled to certain things. It becomes a whole big mess. Reality hits them like a ton of bricks. It's like, fuck, I have to work. You have no life skill. Right, you expected so much, and now, wow. It's like you go to work and you hate your job, and you still have to follow the rules, and they tell you to do this. You have to do that. If not,
you haven't learned to be curious, and you haven't learned to go find your own, solve your own problems. You haven't learned to look at the world differently, to go say, this is my beautiful question. This is how I want to live my life.
Mud, right? And so you can't even get out of it. And that's the reason why nobody is asking the question is this normal? Am I supposed to be this toxic at work? Is this supposed to be, the life? And people say, okay, this is everybody does. So it gotta be, that's how managers and how people treat you. They treat you badly.
I mean, like, it's beyond funny. Like, I look at my own company right now, and whenever we have our senior leadership meetings and stuff like that, all we do is look at a spreadsheet and go through numbers. And it's like, if I just, like, this is a company of human beings, right? Like, this isn't a company of numbers. I mean, like, anybody can, manage a number. Like, in all seriousness, like, anybody can manage a number. Like, managing a human being is totally different, right? Like, I mean, but we get so bogged down in
because life is more than just numbers.
Because we think we can control it. Like, we think, well, if you just hit this number, everything will be fine. Well, how do you hit that number? You have to lead people, and you have to get them to understand who they are, what they want to be, and how to get that out of them, and make sure that they're able to find their beautiful question and help them to keep exploring. Like, you can't just go, well, hit the number. It's like screaming at somebody on the sidelines of a basketball game, like, shoot better, and you're like, all you got to do is hit, 37% of your free throw or your 3-pointers, and we'll win the game, and you're like, what the fuck do you mean? Of course, everybody fucking knows that. Like, but like, how do I do that, you asshole? You can't just yell at me, like, shoot better, like, and that's what we do. We just yell, sell more,
That's what we call coaching, right? Managing. Close the sale.
Go faster.
Right. If you only close like 10, right? Well, how many did you prospect? 100.
And you're like, okay, sure, like, and then that, I mean, that, but to I guess, the point that I was trying to get at with this whole entire reflection, at the end of the day, is it doesn't need to be, are you desperate enough to change? Like, you can live a very happy life, just focusing on your values every single day and the compound effect that comes from that. And all you got to do that is understand what you like and what you don't like. And you don't need to go through the journey that I've been through to go do that. Like, you just need to know, what do you like to do, which we all know. Like, we just maybe need to spend some time and figure it out, and then go do that. Like, I mean, like, it's really not that hard.
I think growing up, we're being trained and conditioned to think in this passion. That's why I really like your question is, are you healthy enough to stay curious? That gives you the option. You have the ability to say, well, I'm healthy enough. I have multiple options at my disposal. If there are something that in in my arsenal, 99% of it that I'm covered, that's 1% that I need to learn. Well, I can actually learn and cover that 1%. But if I only have 1% of winning and 99%, where do I cover?
You've said this now multiple times, and I think I totally understand what you were saying before, but this is a good illustration of where my brain was going. If Apple doesn't stay healthy enough to be curious, Apple will die eventually, right? If Purdue doesn't stay healthy enough to stay curious as a team, Purdue will, they're on an upward trajectory, an upward spiral now. If you stay curious, you're on an upward spiral. Apple is on an upward spiral if it stays curious. Google, like they make Google X. We read this in that book, Loonshots, right? Like, you know, you need a franchise and then you need the ideation engine, right? You have to stay curious always. Otherwise, if you're not doing that, you're not going forward in life and you're not learning and you're not exploring, you're not becoming better at whatever you're trying to do, like whatever better means. This isn't outcome driven, but it's just a natural byproduct of the more curious you are, the more questions you ask, the more better you get. You said the question before of like, would I rather be the favorite or the underdog? Well, let's look at it this way. How many businesses fail? Like, you know, how many tech startups fail? It's probably what, 95%? I don't know. I don't even know. 99%. 99% of them fail, right? Like Google and Apple, like all they have to do is just stay curious, right? Like they just have to stay healthy.
They already are the favorites, right? They will not fail unless they basically stumble onto that 1% of Achilles heel, right? And so as long because they have the money, right? They have the manpower, they have all the facility, they have all the healthy faculties that can explore and build new things or whatever. As long as they continue to do that, the chance of them to continue their legacy, it is very likely. It is only when somebody, 1% of them allows some kind of a poisonous thing to spread and say, well, this guy is this or whatever, and if you follow this guy blindly, and it goes down. But the thing is, if a guy start out, right, do a startup and has only one chance of winning, that's why I fail 99% of the time, because there's only one thing I can do, right? Because I have no money, I got no connections, I got nothing except maybe I'll be able to program. Maybe that's 1%, right? And that's my only path to success. That's why you cannot be successful because they're only path. But you look at like Facebook, Google, you know, Tesla, Apple, whatever. They have all of the other advantages: money, people, reputations, consumer respect, and awareness, and all this stuff. So even if they lack something, they say, "Oh, I don't have a programmer. Let's go hire a fucking programmer from Google." Right? I mean, and that's what they do. It's like
they should be excited for a competitor to pop up, because then they're like, "Oh, like we get a chance to plug some holes and keep going forward," you know? Like
if you have like one hole, right, it is easy for you to plug. If you have like 9 holes out of one, hey, you get one thing and 99% is exposed to this negativity, right? Which hole do you cover? You do not want to be desperate. That's what I'm saying. Is I'm very adamant about being desperate and being in pain.
It forces paradigms to change. It forces you to be curious. That's the whole point. If you just stay healthy and stay curious, when you read it'll be okay.
Book, that's what I'm asking you: is what do you take out of it? What did you take out of it?
What did I take out of Rudy? That's a good question. Well, you know, this is the truth, and it's probably a bad take. Is, you know, never quit. And you're gonna say, well, why would you? What did he get out of this? Like, you know, like why did he do that? You know how dumb that would be to, like, you know, to continue to ram your head against the wall when you're not able to actually play the game at a high level. It just sounds stupid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, what? He should have quit a long time ago, and it should have been
right. Like, again, it's like, if I give you $1 million today, but tomorrow you're gonna be sick for the rest of your life, would you take the money?
No.
That's a question. I mean, a very simple question. How much money is your life worth? Are you wasting it? You banging your head. Let's say, oh, I got some book deal out of it. I want an inspiration of that. Well, is it worth it? Are you living the life you want? Because when you go practice, right, it's not paying free. It's not like it's a free ride. You have to work hard. People are gonna, even in practice, people are gonna hit you, right? Your bones gonna get damaged. Your brain's gonna get damaged, right?
Why? But why are we so drawn to people's art that comes from pain? Like Kurt Cobain or Van Gogh.
We have this double-edged sword because we have this evolutionary gene that wants to focus our attention on things that is negative because it might affect us in our vitality, right? So we say, well,
how do we see beauty in it, though?
It's a rustling in the bush, right? We basically say, well, I gotta pay attention. So we basically use that as a leverage, right? But essentially, we exploit that weakness to get people to buy our books, to get people to buy Air Jordan, to get people to buy T-shirts, to get people to listen to the Rudy story. My question to the audience and to you is, what do you supposed to get out of these inspirational stories?
I don't know.
You
Cry a
all
little
go
bit?
out there
Get
and
some
become
emotion.
Rudy, right? You go out there and buy some shoes, right? Oh, I want to go out there and be a
You're supposed to get
princess.
emotion. You're supposed to get emotions. Is what you're supposed to get.
What's the point?
We like emotions.
What does it give you?
Emotions.
What are you supposed to take out of it? Yeah, I feel inspirational. I feel that guy, it moves me because
Love for humanity, love for your fellow humans' dreams.
No, you don't. Inspiration, I mean, thing is, I don't know about you,
You
but
feel
when
something.
you talk about inspiration, is you feel a feeling inside you, and you say, "Hey, I want to do that." But that's what you do. It's not you don't care.
There was somebody that watched that movie and were like,
You
"I'm
don't
going to
care.
fucking Notre Dame."
I guarantee you don't fucking care about Rudy when you watch a Rudy. You say, "Well, maybe I feel like I want to be." It's all about you. It's the self-esteem. It's all about you. Hey,
Right.
Rudy did that. I want to be like him, right? That's what you're thinking. You don't give a shit about Rudy, okay? I don't know about you, but that's how I feel. Maybe
No,
I'm
I don't
this
care.
crazy
No,
guy,
I don't care about
as a selfish
Rudy.
gene, mostly we only care about us, and we will reflect ourselves in that guy and say, well, because of all this emotion that stirred up, right? It is something we cannot control. This is human nature that we have been evolved for many generations. But the point is, these movies, these books, these stories, these ads, right? Exploiting that weakness to get us to feel something, to get us to buy something we don't need, right? My question is, in reality, can you become Rudy? Can you become?
Do you want to be Rudy? And why would you want to be Rudy? He doesn't
Or,
even play.
or
I don't want to do
Elon
something.
Musk, right?
I definitely don't want to do
May
that.
I ask you, like, do you want to be? Would you want to be Steve Jobs, knowing that he died of pancreatic cancer?
Well, no, but I mean, we're all going to die. But I wouldn't want to be Steve Jobs for other reasons. I wouldn't want to be Steve Jobs because he was a dick. I wouldn't want to be Steve
I mean,
Jobs.
the thing is, there's a lot of reasons, but I'm
the
saying it's
demands of
very
his
simple,
time.
right? Yeah, and of course, there's a lot of reasons, and you make a good point. There's many reasons why you don't want to be Steve Jobs. So
Right.
that even further proves my point. Is it worth it for you to be
No.
something that, hey, I deserve this, right? The point is, let's say you have I will give you $1 trillion, but you won't wake up tomorrow. Would you take it?
No. I mean,
Exactly. So you saying your life is worth more than $1 trillion?
Yes. Like
What if I give you $1 trillion? You won't die, but you be sick for the rest of your life. You have pancreatic cancer, but you won't die, right? You're just in pain. Would you take it?
Chronically in pain. No, no.
My point is so you're telling me is, first of all, you're telling me your life is worth a lot more than $1 trillion, and second, you're telling me your health is worth more than $1 trillion. I'm saying $1 trillion. No one is even a trillionaire. Okay, on Earth, no one's even a trillionaire, and even if I give you $1 trillion, and you still won't take it. And that's my point: is what you do, what you are giving up, what are you suffering through the pain for? Question at the end of the day: is it worth the trade?
I agree. I told you, you've convinced me, because like I said, we've had this debate many times over the course of this journey. I could see no other way to push somebody so hard in a different direction to force the change than through pain. But I'm not saying it's easy to do it the other way around. I'm saying that people have to be healthy enough to be curious. And I have a problem.
So to me, I want to clarify what I mean by that. Is like, there are certain things that we can control, and I can understand that. Yeah, you're in pain because you didn't choose it. But the point I'm saying is, don't go looking for pain when you have a perfectly good life to live.
You can go looking for happiness.
Have a happy family. Don't go to the jungle and try and jump out an airplane without a parachute. You are being stupid.
Or don't go
So-
try to climb Mount Everest just because
So
you
that-
think you're going to discover
so-
yourself or something.
So the question I'm saying is a lot of these books and movies and all this is obviously it is telling you that's a story. That's what you should take away from this plot or whatever. That's what I see. I don't know about you, but a lot of these say, hey, you know, be adventurous, be an underdog. You know, it's better than be the hated champions or whatever. It's like everybody hates champions. I want to be an underdog. Hey, so what you are rooting for the underdog, right? Because why are you rooting for the underdog?
It's fun.
No, it's not. You're rooting the underdog because you are more like the underdog than the champion.
Yeah.
You rooted for people that similar to you. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So if you rooted for the underdog, that means you are more like the underdog than the champion. So your thinking isn't going to help you. It's actually spiral you downward.
That's why I root for Loki and not Thor.
But don't
I'm serious.
Don't go searching for trouble.
Don't go chasing waterfalls. You know.
Yes.
Stick to the
Because
rivers.
what happens to the waterfall?
Well, it's you know what that song is.
What's up?
Are you kidding me? You don't know the "Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls" song? Oh my God! What world have you been living in? Do you know who TLC is?
No.
All right.
Curiosity. Stability.
So, from their album in 1994, you know, it's called Crazy Sexy Cool. This huge #1 album in the world, like #1 song in the world, like on everything. Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls is the song. It's called Waterfalls.
Well, I think I can relate to that. Like sticks to the rivers and lakes that you used to. Right. Yeah, I mean, that's to me, it's something you should be taken away from this.
Right.
Don't be chasing waterfall, and it's thrilling, but I mean, the chances for you end well is not very likely.
Exactly. No, that's funny because I can't believe you've never heard that song before. You should listen to it after this is over. All right, so we'll wrap for the night. So the question we can leave with everybody: are you healthy enough to stay curious? You know, so don't ever stop asking questions, and you know, stop exploring different paradigms.
Put yourself in a corner. If you have a choice, don't ever put yourself in a corner on purpose.
Agreed. You don't need to. Like, if you don't need to, don't do it.
Not. Yeah. Because I will raise my eyebrow and say, "No, you on something?"
I agree. Well, thanks for joining, everyone, and we will see you tomorrow night.
Right. Good night.